Hello and welcome back to the Planets and Problems podcast, the astrology podcast by two girls who are not astrologists. I'm Atalia.
And I'm Ayesha.
And I'm a Sagittarius.
And I'm a Virgo.
Right, let me tell you about something that happened.
Okay, getting straight into it.
So, me and Mitchell, well not even me and Mitchell, my boyfriend, he nearly crashed the van
Oh my
while
God.
we were in it.
Oh my God.
This is just one of those moments where, like, okay, let me just start from the beginning. So, we were in a rush and we went food shopping. Our food shop is literally a 3-minute drive away. Yeah. And we were in a rush because he had a meeting that he like needed to get back for. So we were like rushing, doing the food shop and get in. And he's in the van. And in the van, obviously there's no like boot to put the shopping in. So the shopping goes all at the front. And his bag was on, like one of the shopping bags he put on my seatbelt, and I just thought, oh, I can't be bothered to put the seatbelt on.
Yeah.
And then I kind of like had in my head like, oh, but what if I go through the windscreen? And I was like, no, it's fine, it's only a 3-minute drive, like it'll be fine. Yeah. And then I think what happened was he was too busy focusing on the driver behind him that was getting too close to him that he didn't see the red light, and he had to like slam his brakes on. And I went flying into like forward, and my knees bashed against the like glove compartment. It was painful. God. But I think, to be fair, it wasn't painful straight away. It was like the initial shock.
Yeah.
And I was like trying to like get the, typical me, trying to like get the music on. So I'm like laughing about with the radio. Then all of a sudden I just fly forward, my knees slam.
Oh my God.
My phone just disappears. And Mitchell's like, oh my God, are you alright? And then like, I'm just like freeze for like a few seconds because of the shock, and then the pain kicked in. I just burst into tears. I was just a mess. And it hurts so much, and Mitchell's like panicking. He's like, let me pull over. He didn't even end up pulling over. It's like there's no, we live in a city centre, like there's nowhere to just pull over.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm fine. I was like, I'm fine. And then we get back, and we like just relax a bit. Like the shopping's gone like everywhere. Like the bags were like on the seats, so the shopping's gone everywhere. So we just like gather everything. We come in. He puts all the food shop away because I was like, I'm liking this as much as I can. Like I'm not putting the food shop away. And eventually we sit down after, and we're like, oh, okay, knees are fine. And then he just turns to me and he's like, are you alright? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, good, because you look like a right idiot.
What do you mean?
And like the way that my body just like flew forward. I think it gave him the ick.
Oh no! And he's like holding that in until you better, so he can let you know.
Yeah.
How do you look nice
and he
doing
was like,
that?
I don't know. And he was like, at one point, like while we were still driving, like after like the incident had happened, and he was still driving, he was like, oh, he was like, have you got your seatbelt on? And you know, like when you just don't want to answer that question.
Yeah.
He was like, have you got your seatbelt on? And I was like, no. He was just like, for God's sake, like why have you not got your seatbelt on? I was like, because the bag. I was like, because you put the bag in the way. And like. Yeah, it's just the fact that I had like that thought of my head, like what if I go through the windscreen. Good job I didn't. It wasn't like hard enough for me to go through the windscreen, but my knees fucking hurt, and like I was limping the day after, but my knees are fine. I was really annoyed because there like wasn't a bruise or anything, and I was like, you kind of wanted a bit more, a bit more drama. And then actually we got in. This is why you just shouldn't rush. We actually got to the building that we live in, and we couldn't find the keys, and we had all this shopping. We could not find the keys. So then we're having to like call people that are in the apartment, and like no one's answering. Then eventually someone answers. And we're like, hi, we live at this number, like can you let us in? And he's like, no. He's like, let me just come down.
Why?
Because he didn't, I don't think he believed us. And also while this was happening, this car pulled up next to us, and he was like, do you guys live here? They're like, put the window down. They're like, this is such a fucking annoying guy. Like asking us questions like, how much is rent here? And we're like,
oh my God,
you can, like leave us alone. Sweetheart. I'm like, Mitchell, you talk to them because I'm done now. And then the guy comes. The guy actually lets us in, so he unlocks the door. So we start walking up. And he's on the stairs, like waiting for us. And he's like, you lose your keys, guys? And we're like, yeah, we literally live at that one there. Like, thanks for letting us in. And he was like, oh, okay, cool. He was in the van.
Oh.
He was in the van, yeah. Because obviously we were like, oh, we must have like forgotten to lock up. So we're like,
so we're in
the building, go to open the door, the door's locked.
Not coming open, you look like actual burglars at this point.
With our food.
Well, that's part of the act. It's actually a really good one.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Anyway, yeah, so then we're like, for God's sake. So then eventually he finds the keys, and then we had like the whole, you know, it was like, yeah, that's an actual ick, like being in a car accident and your body like this, like flailing around. Yeah, it was just
I'm glad you're alright.
Yeah, I was actually fine. Like, wear your seatbelt.
Yeah, wear your seatbelt, guys. What I have for this week is something that I saw that's quite interesting thought, is don't confuse nosiness for friendship. Have you ever had a friend or someone that you thought was a friend or someone that you're close to that you might not have because you don't have so much crazy drama in your life, but that is constantly asking, oh, how's this and how's this, and you find that your catch-ups just relate over like what's going on in your life, but you never actually plan to see each other or do anything, and they never actually want. Have you not had that before?
No.
I guess for me, I've had quite a lot of different jobs in my life so far, haven't I? So I've met like so many different types of people, and I've worked at like some places where there's like loads of people as well. And I can think of one friend in particular that basically last year, well, it started a couple of years ago, that like I wasn't seeing this friend regularly, and whenever I'd asked to meet up with them or something, they were never bothered, and they never made an effort, and they would never even want to go. So I'd be like, oh, should we do this? And something bad happened to them, and in response I'm like, oh, in a few weeks, like when you're feeling a bit better, can I take you out for dinner? And then the few weeks came and I was like, oh, when can I take you out for dinner? And they never wanted to do it. Yet periodically, every few months, they start messaging me for a catch up, and this catch up ends up being to do with like all questions centered around me. So if I ask them something about their life, their relationship, they just kind of like bat it off, but then they constantly ask me questions. And I noticed it to the point where the last conversation that we had, the last thing she asked me was, where's your ex moving to? So I'd mentioned that we're broken up, and you know, I've moved here, and he's moving away as well, so I'm going to be looking after the dog. And she's like, where's your ex moving to? And that triggered it in me, for me to think, why is she so concerned about all these things in my life, but if I ask her about hers, she just bats it off. And basically there's some people out there that just essentially want the friendship for gossip, and so they can then just go in, not to be like, just for like other things in their life, so they can be like, oh yeah, blah blah's doing this and blah blah's doing that. Yeah, they don't actually want a friendship with you.
Yeah, just to relay the information.
Just to relay, but even not to like people that know you, they're just literally messaging you for the drama. And I noticed that with that person, and this does happen. So yeah, never confuse friendship, well, nosiness for friendship if someone is just like extremely nosy, because you should be offering information because you want to offer it, not just because someone's like prying into your life.
That's so
I didn't answer that question. I didn't reply. I've not replied since.
I couldn't imagine like why someone, like, I couldn't imagine wanting to do that.
I guess it's from the perspective of, if you know someone that's like got loads of drama going on in their life, or you feel like they've got loads of drama and it's interesting, you constantly want the update.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, what's happening next, and oh, what's going on next, and oh, well, they were doing this last time, and you're
not there to offer advice or to like console. And
they come up in so maybe you come up in conversation with their partner or something, and then they think, oh, I'll message Ayesha to find out what's going on with this, and stuff like that, to get basically get the tea.
Don't just get used to the tea.
Yeah, so yeah, I didn't reply to that message about where my ex is moving to, because it's none of your fucking business. And like, if you want to know where he's moving to, ask him, because I'm not giving you, and that is almost me being protective over him in a way. It's like, I'm not giving you that information about his life, because that's none of your business. So Yeah, be careful of that. That happened to me like a few months ago now, but I am very wary of it happening going forth, because I can see if you're the sort of person that's like has lots of different stuff going on. Like, I wouldn't say my life has been dramatic, but I do make like drastic changes and stuff, don't I? And I like, oh, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, or I'm moving to Leeds like really spontaneously. If you're that sort of person, yeah, just be careful who you tell stuff to. And actually, on that one, move in silence. I heard this as well.
Making moves in silence.
Genuinely, like, you don't know who is thinking negatively about you from a jealousy perspective, or just from a they don't want you to do well. And they might seem to be your friend, they might seem to be your parent. They might even be just as bad with parents, because some parents probably don't want the kids actually doing better than them because they get jealous of it. They might seem to be, you know, friend, whatever, or sibling, but you just have to be careful. How I said sibling, I'm pointing at you like you don't want me to do well. Right here. Like, you don't want me to do well. You need to keep your mouth shut, basically. Don't be spouting your business of things that you're doing, because any sort of negative energy portrayed onto that could affect you. And yeah, I would just be careful, move in silence. And that just goes the same as, you know, don't pry your drama out to everybody. Just tell the people that you're comfortable telling. Like, tell the people that are close to you. So I'm not saying don't tell anyone, but, you know, tell your partner, tell your best friend, tell your mum. But like, maybe leave it at that. Yeah,
definitely talk to people about stuff, but only talk to people that genuinely have your best interests at heart.
And I think you can have a gut about someone. And like, this person that I'm talking about, I had a gut about, like, at that point, because I was just like going through the message and I'm like, it's like question, me big paragraph, me asking a similar question back, one line, question, big paragraph. So yeah, move in silence. And get those other friends to move on that are just nosy. Thanks, bye. We just had to have a little mess with our lighting, but now it's time for our affirmation of the week. And I can't remember what it is. Sorry, 1 second. I did just have it fully in my head. Sometimes life is about risking it all for a dream that nobody can see. Except for you, basically. Because I don't know about you, but sometimes you might be explaining something, or even any point in your life, you might be explaining something that you want to do, or like a dream that you've got. And I'm sure some really supportive people will be like, yeah, that sounds really good. Some people are like, or yeah, but not many people get to do this, or you know, this doesn't really make sense in terms of this. And it's great if you don't ever have anyone that's like that. You're so lucky that you've got such supportive people in your life. But I think even if they are like, you know, close friends or whatever and really supportive, they might not be able to see a vision that is in your head of something and how successful you believe something can be. And for that reason, it just links to the fact that, like, I've tried to make a lot less social plans at the moment, because I'm trying to work on something that I want to do business-wise. And that means I'm having to risk relationships so that I can have that, but it doesn't actually make sense to anyone else why I'm doing that. Because they're like, oh, why wouldn't you want to go out and do this? Why wouldn't you want to go out and do that? Like, why wouldn't you want to continue this friendship like this? Well, because I've got this vision that you can't see, so I'm going to have to risk all of these things, because to me, that is more important than those things.
I like that one. Just done it. What's that for you?
Okay.
Risk it all.
Risk it all. Should we move on to your planet problems?
Okay, so we're now on to our planet problems. Your planet problems.
Your planet. I love how I say it wrong every time, and now it's to the point where you're now saying it wrong. Sorry.
To the questions segment of the podcast.
Okay. How are Pisces such an emotional sign but refuse to talk about their emotions, and instead of trying to work things out, they just leave?
That's not my experience with Pisces. I think Pisces can really open.
Okay.
With everyone. That's what I've experienced anyway. I don't know about you, but most of the Pisces that I've met, like, straight away, I remember this one person in particular, I'd known him, 10 minutes, and he told me about how his, like, dad was a drug addict who left him, and I'm like, why do I already know so much information about you? Already, like, why do you feel comfortable telling me all this? Like, are you like this with everyone, or is this just you? And I think that was just them, because I've had this same experience with a few Pisces where they're just so open to talk about their feelings.
My experience is a little bit different, so maybe it depends on who they're around, or who, like, what sort of person they're speaking to. But my experience with Pisces is that they are open, but they can be a bit standoffish at first.
Right.
That's my experience, that they can be a bit standoffish and a bit quiet, and then eventually you'll get the life story. But from what you're saying about they refuse to talk about their emotions, then what I would say is that, like, because Pisces are so emotional, maybe sometimes they just, like, can't be arsed. Like, if they've got that much emotion going on and they do have that way of being detached, maybe they just choose that sometimes, like certain ones.
I think Pisces are very troubled.
Yeah.
And there's no two Pisces the same, to be fair. And if we actually look at what, like, the astrological order, so it starts off with Aries, and each sign after Aries is learning the lessons that the other one already knows. So Aries is the leader, and then Taurus has learned all of Aries lessons, and then Gemini is like all of Taurus and Aries lessons, and so on. So Pisces is the last of the order. So Pisces is seeing everybody's mistakes, what everybody else has been through, learn all of the lessons that everybody else already knows, and it's just stuck with this, like, knowledge.
Toxicness, sorry.
That's why Pisces are so wise, because they've learned, they've like seen it all, really.
Right.
And they're just put in life, like, okay, here's everything, off you go.
Oh.
Which isn't helpful, really.
No.
Whereas, like, Aries is just put on, they're like, right, your leaders, go.
Yeah.
And that's what they do, like, that's their job. So I think Pisces can be quite troubled, and that's maybe why they struggle so much to talk about things.
Yeah, and on that, I feel like Pisces can be, they are obviously emotional, but they don't necessarily know how to process their emotions in the way other signs do. So, like, for example, Cancers are known for being emotional, but they're also known for being, like, emotionally intelligent, which means that, like, they have, like, a big understanding of emotions and different people's emotions, which might make them better at processing their own. Whereas for Pisces, that's emotional, I feel like Pisces don't actually know how to process their emotions.
No.
This isn't obviously all Pisces. If you're a developed one, amazing. Like, if you've been doing some work on yourself.
If you've learned all these lessons and you're putting them to good use, then good for you.
But initially, a new Pisces, meaning a young person, a fresh one,
fresh fish.
I feel like they can be really toxic, and I'm not saying they won't make good partners, but I have noticed when, and not even Pisces towards me, this is like Pisces that I've observed in the wild. They can be toxic as fuck. Really toxic.
And Pisces crave toxicity as well. They love the drama. As much as they'll tell you, oh, this is going on in my life, oh, no, they literally feed off it. It's what fuels them.
Stop it, because I feel like that person that I was talking about earlier, the friend that was always asking for drama from me, was a Pisces.
Maybe, you might find that out.
No, I think they are. I'm pretty sure they are. No, they are.
Oh.
They are. I've just remembered the birthday.
Oh yeah, there you are then.
Fantastic!
Full circle.
That makes sense. Okay. Is there anything significant about having the same sun and moon sign? I'm an Aries sun and moon and a Sag rising.
I think there is.
Go on.
I think there is, because I think it just makes you more of that sign. It makes you, like, know who you are a bit more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I guess like your base personality traits, which is what I would say your sun is, like your basics, and then your moon's your emotions, just to put it really plainly, then that means, yeah, you have an understanding of your emotions and like who you are deep down.
Yeah, I saw something, it's like if you've got the same sun and moon, it means that your wants and needs align with each other.
Right.
Like, you're the same sort of, like, you're just a bit more well-rounded, whereas like people with different, like, a lot of different elements in the, a lot of different signs in the chart, you know, one thing could be here, one thing could be there, they might want this in one thing, and then, you know, they might want sustainability in a relationship or craziness in career, like, everything's a bit all over the place. It probably just means that you want, like, the same sort of things out of each part of your life. I've got the same sun and rising, which I like, because it's like, I just feel, I'm a Sag sun and rising, it just makes me feel more like a Sag.
People perceive you as the person that you are. Yeah,
exactly. And I just feel like when I read things about a Sagittarius, I can relate to it on another level, because I'm like, mate, I'm Sag here, there and everywhere.
That makes sense. That makes sense, because my boyfriend has, well, he's a triple Scorpio, I've obviously mentioned him before. I think I've also said he is a Scorpio down to a T.
Yeah.
So like, if you were to reel off the traits of a Scorpio, that is him.
Yeah.
And he's done a lot of work on himself, so like some of the bad ones aren't as bad as what, you know, they probably would be with an underdeveloped one. But he is a Scorpio through and through, like, that's what, he is what's written down.
It's just a bit more simple. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting what you're saying about the different, like, if you've got loads of different placements in your chart, and that makes you not necessarily, makes you want different things in different aspects. Because I've got a different sun, moon and rising, but most of my placements apart from that are all Scorpio.
Wow.
Which means that
it means that you've got to read carefully.
It means that I basically want intensity everywhere. But yeah, it doesn't, yeah, it means that you obviously need to like look at your whole chart to see. But yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
very interesting. So, and that was by Sag rising as well. So
love that. Love a Sag placement.
Yeah.
Sending love to all Saggers. Anyone that has a Sag placement in their birth chart, I love you.
Aww. I don't have any.
I know. I partway through saying that, I was like, this doesn't include you. I can't believe you don't have any Sag.
That's because you took it though. It's just interesting how,
yeah,
like how things work. Because do you have any Virgo?
I think I do, but I don't know where. I don't know actually.
Make sure you
but
check
yeah,
that.
I've got, I think Sag is 5 of my placements, which isn't like an extreme amount, but it's more than you.
Yeah, yeah. I try to think what else I don't have. We'll have to have a look at that.
Maybe we'll do an episode where we go into what
analyse
charts when people care enough.
Yeah, if people ever care. Right, next question. Does a Gemini and a Gemini relationship work, or is it more of a best friend thing? He is male, I am female.
You deserve each other. I don't know.
All I know is that there's 4 people in that relationship. Like, that is 4 people.
That's a lot. Polyamory, it's finest. Yeah, you're gonna need a big house.
Yeah.
To house all those personalities.
Yeah.
Ew, Gemini and Gemini together.
Yeah, I think it possibly can work, because I think that there'll probably be a large like amount of understanding there between you two, because I think I said in one of the previous episodes that Geminis are great at communication, meaning that like if you've got 2 people in that relationship, 4 people in that relationship that are great at communication, then that's brilliant. But in my opinion, there could be some clashes there if you've got all these different personalities going on, because like my experience of Geminis is you're great, like one side of you's great and the other side of you's not so great, and you don't know who you're gonna get.
That's just her experience though. You can have 2 sides that are both great, but they are contrasting.
So how can they both be great if they're contrasting?
Because it's not just as simple as good and bad.
Okay.
It can be
Quiet and loud.
Quiet and loud, tidy and messy.
Yeah, that is good and bad, but yeah. The
not
quiet and loud,
necessarily for
quiet and loud.
Virgo. This Virgo wants clean all the time, but sometimes you want a bit of messiness in your life. Messiness can be good.
Okay.
It's not always practical to be tidy all the time. What if you're in a rush?
Okay. But the quiet and loud, yeah, that is a good example of it not being necessarily being good and bad.
Yeah.
I'm not going to apologise though about saying that about Geminis.
Okay. My take is Geminis, I don't know many Gemini and Gemini friends, but like Geminis tend to go for like other other signs when seeking friendships.
Right.
But I don't know, do they come across each other that often?
I
don't know any Gemini and Gemini.
It's more interesting though if they're not coming across each other.
Yeah.
Because why? Because they do understand each other and they don't want that. So the negative traits of a Gemini they don't want, so they're avoiding it.
You know how the ocean is only like 5% discovered?
Yeah.
And we know more about like the surface of Mars than we do about the ocean. I feel like that's the same sort of thing with Gemini. Like there's only like, we've only researched like 5% into what there actually is. Like I feel like they're we know the least about them because it's so complex.
We want a Gemini to write in and you to tell us, give you big three, but as a Gemini write in and give us every single thing about your personality that you have. So tell us like, you know, you like this, and when this happens you do this, and when you fall out with someone this is how you react. And you need to be honest, Geminis, because, you know, Geminis. But yeah, it'd be really good for us to like have that and dissect that, so that we can learn a bit more about Geminis and understand them a bit more, because I struggle and I definitely have quite a negative perception. No one understands them, and I've said it like several times on my TikTok, like, Geminis, you always say that you're the least understood. Here's your chance to explain, and nobody gives me a fucking answer. So they don't even know themselves. Yeah, write in planetsandproblems@gmail.com.
Okay.
Or even just DM me on Insta, because like I just want to know that bad.
Phone caller 07.
Yeah, 07.
Okay, are you ready to move on?
Yes, we've got our question of the week.
Yes.
I need to get it, one sec.
Okay.
Our question of the week is, where do you think your self-worth comes from?
That's like, okay.
And I guess you can, where does self-worth come from in general for other people, like for most people? It might be a different answer, but...
I think that's almost like asking, where does your behaviour come from?
Ooh.
Like, it could be anyway.
That's why I'm asking. But where do you think yours comes from?
My own personally.
Yeah.
I think mine probably comes from the information. Oh, I was going to say the information that I've taken, but I mean more specifically, like the things that I watch, the people I'm surrounded by. I'm a big believer in the social theory.
Yeah.
That, you know, the things around you, rather than like the way that your brain processes things, or biology.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I think mine, when I was a bit younger, and this is probably up until a couple of years ago as well, maybe even a year ago, came from other people. Right. It came from, as much as I've always done whatever I've wanted, my worth came from what other people think of me.
Wow.
And how other people treat me as well.
Well, yeah, that's easily done.
Yeah, and I think that is probably what most people do. I think a lot of shadow work means that my self-worth now comes from me, and I decide what I'm worth, and it's a lot. It's very, very expensive. But yeah, I think that is where mine comes from. I just wondered if you had a different answer on that. Well, you obviously don't, from what you've just said.
Well, yeah.
Yours is like, you're saying people that you're surrounded by. I think I'm saying like, yeah, I guess it's the people that I'm surrounded by, but I'm not like looking at the other people and getting self-worth. It's more like, if they're treating me like shit, I think I'm shit.
Right.
That's what it is.
Well, then I just wouldn't surround myself with those types of people. But then where does the self-worth to think that come from?
Yeah, so that's where you have to start doing the learning, which is what I've done. So now, like, how people treat me, so there's like certain people in my life still that don't necessarily treat me really nicely. I don't think differently about myself based on how they treat me. I just think differently of them. And I think that is a really hard mindset to actually end up having, to think that, like, how people react to situations and act towards you is more about them than about yourself.
1000%. It's like it's always about them.
Yeah. So if you were to say something to someone like, oh, it really hurt me when you did this, and they flipped out and shouted, a lot of people would then, that's really upset me, maybe I shouldn't have said this way, maybe I shouldn't have said it at all.
I'd be mortified.
Whereas actually it's about the fact that they've reacted like that is about them, and it's actually got nothing to do with you. So yeah. Cool. Amazing.
I feel like I've got something more to give.
You do?
Well, yeah, because think about, like, when you're younger, where does it come from?
I think mine's always been the same.
Really?
Yeah,
you don't think your self-worth was anything to do with your parents at the very
It's
start?
the same thing though, because I'm saying it's how people have treated me.
Right.
So people that I'm close to, how they treat me, that will include parents.
Yeah.
So, yeah, to me, it will have been my parents.
Where should it come from?
I think it should come from you. I think you need to decide what you're worth.
Start adding up.
Yeah.
Do some equations.
Yeah.
Find out your price.
Yeah.
Start charging.
Yeah. No, literally.
Yeah.
Because you need to have that confidence in yourself to get the things that you want. And this isn't about financial or material gain. This is about getting healthy relationships with people, friendships, parents, siblings, romantic, whatever. Because if you don't have self-worth, people are going to continue to treat you a certain way. And if you're not even having, like, any issues in relationships, then you're probably not listening to this podcast. But also, you probably don't need to listen to this podcast. But also...
I mean, stick around anyway, guys.
Stick around anyway. But also, you won't be asking yourself questions about it, because the questions that come at you say to yourself, oh, why do I always attract this same sort of person? Why do I always attract the same star sign? Why do I always attract people that cheat on me? Why do I always attract friends that do this, this and this? And that is actually mostly about how you view yourself, because if you don't have self-worth, no one else is going to think about what you're worth. They're not going to think, oh, this person shouldn't be treated like this, so I would never do that. So you actually need to have that inside yourself to start off with. Now, it's not going to stop people doing bad shit.
Yeah, that also explains why, like, celebrities, people go, oh, she was a celebrity, she was gorgeous, how did she get cheated on?
Yeah.
Well, because one, there's still people that are a piece of shit out in the world, regardless of celebrities or not. And two, because they let them cheat on them that many times.
Yeah. Obviously, once it could be an accident, and well, once is not much, like, I don't even know about well, what I'm saying
once,
about
fair enough, but if you get cheated on,
multiple times by multiple partners as well. If it's one person loads of times, you get rid of them, fine. But if it's multiple, that's happening to you multiple times, you probably need to have a look at your self-worth, because then when you value yourself highly, then you can start attracting people that also value yourself highly. But if you're walking down the street thinking, oh, I'm this, and I'm this, and I'm this, and I'm this, and I could never get this, and this will never be this, then that is the energy that you put out there, that's the energy you're going to get back.
And that is manifestation.
Yeah.
Through and through.
Mic drop.
Please. Okay, well, thank you for listening and watching.
And we will see you next week.
I was going to say, leave a rating and comment, write in, all that good stuff. But yeah, see you next week.